Management of the Ebola virus. Speaking on behalf of the team of health officials, the director of the Ebola Emergency Operational Center said the spread of the disease can be managed more efficiently when information about it is presented properly.
One thing that is, very critical, one thing that rings through in terms of our ability to contain this epidemic is that if people have any inkling whatsoever that they may have become in contact with somebody that has Ebola virus disease, or they've traveled to the West African states where there is an epidemic of Ebola virus disease, and they've been in touch with patients there, then the traditional observation is that within 2 to 21 days, people will come down with symptoms that are suggestive of Ebola virus disease. And it is very critical that if people have these symptoms, that they report to the health authorities. There's an Ebola alert helpline, the 0800 Ebola help, that people should call and tell the respondents what these symptoms are, because it is when people are brought into the health facility to be evaluated for this disease, that is what boosts the chances of survival.
That's very unfortunate, but while trying to play smart and escape while in court, 2 prisoners have been shot dead. An official from the Justice Ministry told the South African Press Association that the prisoners who were awaiting their hearing apparently retrieved a firearm from the dustbin, and there was then an exchange of gunfire with officers. The incident happened at the High Court in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape Province. Mthunzi Mhaga, the Justice Ministry spokesman, said one prison officer was wounded in the process and he was injured in his leg during the shootout. As 2 sides battle over control of the Libyan airport, an army commander is accusing Islamist militants of kidnapping up to 25 soldiers who are missing in the eastern city of Benghazi and killed 5 others. Violent anarchy has taken hold in the port city and in the capital, Tripoli, causing the central government to lose its grip on the power there. 3 years after an uprising ousted Muammar Gaddafi. Western powers worry Libya will turn into a failed state or head towards another civil war. Tripoli is in the hands of an armed group linked to the west city of Misrata after it expelled a rival group and forced the elected parliament to relocate to a town in the remote east of Libya. In Benghazi, Islamist fighters have been trying to seize Benghazi's civilian and military airport in recent weeks by approaching the site from several sides. The army has tried to stop the advance with artillery fire. Now, the Human Rights Watch group has accused of, I'll take that again and pardon me. The Human Rights Watch group has been accused of unlawfully coercing 7,000 Eritrean and Sudanese nationals into leaving the country at great personal risk. By that, they're referring to Israel. The report goes on to say asylum procedures have been denied access to fair and efficient asylum procedures and detained unlawfully. Now, earlier this year, African asylum seekers in Israel staged mass protests over their treatments. Israel says its policies are legal. Only illegal migrants and refugees comply with international law. It insists that the Africans are not asylum seekers, but economic migrants who see Israel as an attractive destination because it is the nearest developed country where they can find jobs. Now, in response to that report, the Israeli Foreign Ministry says Israel treats illegal migrants entering its territory in accordance with international law, including the UN Treaty on Refugees. It also said that migrants had not been expelled, and the statement also adds that those who had left had chosen to do so of their own free will. Well, when we take a break now on The World Today, when we come back, we'll take a look at the lighter side of life. Back, you're still watching The World Today on Channels Television. And just before we take a look at the lighter side of life, a day after the spread of the Ebola virus in Liberia was described as exponential, the country is now facing a serious threat to its national existence as the deadly virus spreads like wildfire. And that's what the defense minister is saying about it. He told the UN Security Council that the international response to the crisis was less than robust. The World Health Organization has warned that thousands more cases could emerge in Liberia, which has been worst hit by the outbreak. About 2,288 people have died from the virus in Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone.
Our message to our African colleagues is...
Liberian Foreign Minister Augustine Ngafwan has called on African nations to assist Liberia in its battle against Ebola by immediately lifting all travel bans and reopening borders to facilitate the movement of essential supplies.
Well, we regret that some of our African brothers and sisters are taking actions that are disproportionate vis-a-vis the magnitude of the problem. And that in spite of expert advice that has come from the WHO, the United Nations, even the AFDB, some of them are still stuck in taking actions, some of which border on stigmatization. Our message to our African colleagues is that they need to revisit their actions.
He made the comments during an exclusive interview with China's Central Television, CCTV, on the sidelines of the African Union's just concluded emergency meeting on Ebola in the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa. The minister acknowledged the assistance of China, which dispatched supplies and medical teams to help Liberia deal with the Ebola virus disease.
In fact, China was one of the first countries to have given us assistance during the first outbreak. We've had two outbreaks of the virus. The first one killed about 6 persons, and then for a period of more than a month, we registered no new cases until the second outbreak came with a vengeance. During the first outbreak, China gave us some assistance to deal with the virus, and during the second, the Chinese flew in a plane load of critically needed medical supplies and equipment, which we've distributed in our counties that are afflicted by this problem.
Ngafwan called on the international community to accelerate production of experimental drugs that could prove effective against EVD.
We've been told through the news media that trials on monkeys have proven that ZMapp is 100% effective, and that the probability of effectiveness in humans may be high. But what we're calling on the medical community to do is to expedite research and whatever that needs to be done so that these drugs can be widely available.
The minister's comments come after African Union Chief Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma held an emergency meeting on the Ebola crisis